It was around midnight when David Carter picked up the call. A woman needed a ride from a gas station near Route 422, somewhere between the edge of Pennsylvania and the border with Ohio. The dispatcher said she sounded calm, polite, said her name was Evelyn. David had been driving for 12 hours straight. The roads were empty, just the hum of his old Crown Victoria and the hiss of the heater. He thought about ignoring the request, but the payout was good, and besides, he'd always had this rule: never leave someone stranded at night. When he pulled into the gas station, the place was nearly deserted. One flickering light buzzed above the pumps, and there she was, standing under it. A woman in a long gray coat, hair soaked from the drizzle. She didn't wave. She just stood still, like she'd been waiting for him all night. David rolled down the window. "You, Evelyn?" She nodded slowly. Her voice was soft, almost too quiet. "Yes, I need to go to Grayfield." David frowned. "Grayfield? Haven't heard that name in years. Thought that place was abandoned." She smiled faintly. "It's still there." He unlocked the door, and she slid into the back seat. Her clothes were damp, but there was no smell of rain, no scent at all. The air in the cab felt heavier. As they drove, the highway narrowed, swallowed by forest. Fog drifted across the road, thick and pale. The GPS lost signal 10 miles out. Evelyn didn't speak. She just stared out the window, her reflection faint in the glass. After 20 minutes, David tried to make small talk. "So, you live out there in Grayfield?" A pause. Then, softly, "I used to." He chuckled nervously. "Used to? Like you moved away?" Another pause. "No," she said. "Like I never left." David glanced in the rearview mirror. She was still looking out the window, her eyes fixed on something he couldn't see. The road twisted through black woods and dying pines. The only sound was the low hum of the engine and the wipers pushing away mist. Then she whispered something, barely audible. "You missed the turn." He looked around. There were no signs, no roads, just trees. "Where?" he asked. "Left," she said. He turned the wheel, and the car rolled onto an unmarked dirt path. The headlights cut through a wall of fog, revealing broken fences and the rusted frame of an old road sign. He slowed down to read it. The letters were nearly gone, but he could make out the word Grayfield.
The further he drove, the quieter everything became. No cars, no lights, no sound of the world. Just the hum of the engine and the rain crawling across the windshield. He tried the radio. Static. He switched to another station. Static again. Even the air inside the car felt heavy, like it didn't want to move. The road began to twist, leading deeper into the woods. The girl in the back seat said nothing. She just stared out the window, her reflection faint in the glass. He looked at her through the mirror. "We're almost there?" he asked. No answer. Just her pale face motionless, with eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. When the GPS signal vanished, he slowed down. The screen turned black for a second, then blinked white, showing one word: Grayfield. He blinked, confused. The word stayed there, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Then the screen went out completely. He thought about turning back, but something about her silence pinned him to the seat. It was like she was waiting, or maybe listening. The fog grew thicker. The world outside was gone. The road disappeared under the mist. Then he saw it, a faded sign half swallowed by vines. Welcome to Greyfield, established 1892. He stopped the car. The girl leaned forward for the first time and whispered, "Just a little further." Her voice was low, almost distant, like an echo that didn't belong to the present moment. He swallowed hard and drove on. The town appeared out of the mist, old brick buildings, dark windows, no light, no sound. A stray newspaper drifted across the street, its pages untouched by the rain. He parked near an empty diner. The neon sign flickered weakly, showing half the word "open." But inside, everything was dead. He turned to ask her something, but the back seat was empty. Only the faint imprint of where she had been sitting remained. And in the fogged-up window there was a single word drawn with a finger. "Stay."
He stepped out of the car. The air was colder than before, sharp and still. His breath hung in front of him, refusing to fade. The sound of the rain had stopped. No wind, no echoes of life. Only silence, so thick it pressed against his ears. He called out, "Hey! Where did you go?" His voice bounced off the empty buildings, dull and broken. No answer. The diner's door creaked open on its own. He hesitated, then stepped inside. The air smelled like rust and dust. Old coffee cups sat on the counter, half full, as if someone had just left. He walked between the tables. Each step echoed louder than the last. And then from the far corner came a sound, a soft hum, a woman's voice, quiet, almost familiar. He turned toward it. The girl was sitting in a booth, facing away from him. Her hair was wet, her shoulders shaking slightly. He took a step closer. "Miss, are you okay?" She turned. Her face was pale, lips blue, eyes completely black, and she smiled. He stumbled back, his hand reaching for the door, but the diner had changed. The exit was gone. The windows were bricked over. He spun around. The girl was gone. Only her voice remained, whispering through the air. "You brought me home." The lights flickered one by one. He ran toward the kitchen, pushing through swinging doors, and found himself outside again. The street looked different now. The buildings were older, the road cracked, signs faded to nothing. His taxi was gone, but at the end of the street its headlights glowed faintly, like two eyes watching him. He walked toward it. Every step echoed like it was inside a tunnel. When he reached the car, the door was open. The keys were still in the ignition,
humming softly. On the passenger seat there was a small object, a locket. He picked it up. It was old, cold, and covered in mud. He opened it. Inside was a photograph of the same girl, but taken decades ago. He looked up. The street was empty again. The fog swallowed everything. And then he saw her, standing in the middle of the road, her head tilted slightly, her dress moving in a wind that wasn't there. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. He dropped the locket. It hit the ground and burst open, the photo catching fire without a flame. When he looked up again, she was gone. Only the sound of her whisper lingered. Drive. He turned slowly toward his car, but it wasn't his anymore. The license plate read a different number. The inside looked older, stained, like it had been sitting there for years. Still, he got in, because what else was there to do? He started the engine. The headlights flickered once. The radio came alive. A soft female voice whispered through the static. "Welcome back to Grayfield."
He didn't know how long he'd been driving. Minutes, hours, maybe days. The road never changed. The same trees, the same fog, the same endless stretch of darkness. Every time he tried to turn around, the road curved back to where he started. The town sign appeared again and again. "Welcome to Grayfield, established 1892. He turned off the engine. The silence swallowed him whole. No birds, no insects, not even the sound of his own heartbeat, just the low hum of something deeper beneath the earth. He stepped out and looked around. The town looked smaller now. The streets were folding into themselves, like paper burning from the edges. He tried to scream, but the air wouldn't let him. His voice just disappeared. In one of the windows he saw movement, a flicker of light, then a shadow. He walked closer. Inside the diner, the same diner, someone was sitting in the booth. A man. Same jacket, same posture. He looked closer through the glass and froze. It was him. The same face, the same tired eyes. The man inside turned his head toward the window, and for a second both versions of him stared at each other. Then the lights went out. When they came back on, the booth was empty, and the car behind him was running, headlights glowing in the fog. He walked to it. The driver's door opened on its own. He looked inside and saw a woman sitting in the back seat. Same long hair, same cold stare. She leaned forward slightly, her lips parted. "Can you take me home?" she whispered. He didn't answer. He just got behind the wheel, turned the key. The engine started without sound. The road ahead was waiting, wet, dark, endless. The fog began to move again, swallowing the car, the headlights, the town. And in the static of the radio, her voice returned, soft,
eternal. Thank you for the ride. Then silence. No one ever saw the taxi again, but sometimes, on cold nights, drivers on Route 19 say they see headlights in the fog, and a woman standing on the side of the road, waiting to be taken home. Grayfield.